Okay, so this is what my brows look like with nothing on them. They're like very sparse. There's missing hairs. It's like, and I don't ever, I only tweeze my own eyebrows. I just brush it up. The only thing I do is tweeze what's kind of coming through. So what I do is, like you saw, I just brushed it up. So this brow is going to be the natural everyday brow. So I either use, I've showed you that I use the Benefit Precision Brow Definer, but I ran out. So I went ahead and purchased the Maybelline Brow Define. And this color is soft brown. And the reason why I purchased this is because I had both of them and I realized I get the same effect from both, but this is so much cheaper. So I'm not trying to be cheap, but why would I buy something more expensive if I don't need it? And then I just go, and I'm going to be looking in this mirror because I have to check it. I start like right where it starts to, it's full right here, and then it starts to go sparse. So I just start to brush up in a straight line. And then at the arch, I start to curve down. And I do them all in like feathery strokes. So I'm doing it like line, line, line. Then I go back to the front and just softly line right there. So basically you see I'm just getting a line underneath there, and then it's kind of tapering off here. So then what I do is brush it down what little hairs I have. And you know, it's kind of hanging over, but it's fine because that's what I need. That my hair would grow and fill up until this part right here, where that's all full right there. I'm kind of making it even to that. So I'm just doing little strokes to that. So then I go back and brush it up, and now I have, it's all like, so now I'm just going to take a clean brow brush, and this one is the Smashbox number 12. It might just be a angled brush, but it's very stiff, so it's perfect for my brow. So from the line that I drew here, I'm not adding color in here, I'm literally just taking and flicking up that color in a straight upward motion. So I'm literally using the color from underneath in that line that I drew and bringing it up into the brow. So I didn't add more color, I'm just using that from that. And I do the same thing over here. I just kind of take what I've used and brush it through and go all the way down. I take my finger and just kind of go along that. There you go. And brush it up again. Always just kind of go back and make sure. Now, one thing, you can definitely leave it here if you only want like a little simple step, but for me, I like to go in with the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Kit. I've used this brow kit, not the same one obviously, I just keep repurchasing it, but I know I've used it for over 9 years because my son is going to be 9 in November, and I was pregnant with him when I started using it, so that's how long I've been using it and love it. So I'm going to start right where it's kind of empty, and oh, I'm sorry, I used this middle shade. There's a wax, there's a light brown, and then there's a dark brown. So I'm using the middle brown, and I'm going to just start filling in little feathery strokes in the center and going towards the outside. And this just kind of helps fill in all the little empty sparse spots. Again, take your brow brush and brush it up and brush it down. Don't put any more product on the brush, just use what's left and flick up in here. And there you go, you can see the difference. Hi! So that's my everyday brow look. Now this side, I'm gonna go ahead and do like a more nighttime kind of brow. And for that, I'm going to take the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow Pomade in the color dark brown. So this is the MAC 208. It's a very small little head, but a stiff brush. So I'm gonna dip it in there, and I'm gonna do the same steps that I did with the pencil, but I'm gonna do it with this gel pomade. So I'm gonna make that line, Do you see it's a little stronger, a little bit more? And then curve it down. And then again, what's left on the brush, go forward. And I'm bringing them into just a little bit, like you're supposed to go to the side. So I'm bringing it just to here. See, I didn't even have to match, and I just know exactly where to stop. You're supposed to go to the end of your brow, and that's where it is. So, again, flick up what's left. I'm just going to do this first because that way you can get an idea. So I'm using what's left on the underneath and just bringing it up. I'm going to go down, a bit more product on my brow lines in the way that the hair grows. And match it up to the front. And then I'm going to brush it back up. And I'm just going to go what's left on the brush just to kind of go on the top of that. So as of now, they kind of look the same. You see, I've got the darkness in this one just because the pomade was so much darker, but I'm still going to go back in with that powder. I'm going right here in the center, again, starting in the center with the color, getting all of it full in here, but then I'm just going to bring what's left again and flick up in here. So I'm going to take that smaller brush that I just used the pomade on, and I'm going to take that dark color. I'm going to dip it in the dark color, and I'm just going to do the tail end. So I want the tail of the brow to be a lot darker than the center, like an ombre, like darker to lighter to lighter. So getting the tail end a lot darker. The next thing I'm going to do for this one is take MAC. It's the Pro Longwear Concealer, and I have NW20, one of the little MAC pots, because I like to do the back to MAC. So I literally took the pump, because this comes in a pump, and I pumped it out, and there's a lot of product in here. But it takes forever to go through this, so I wanted to back to MAC my little container, so I pumped it all out into here with 322 brow line, and it's an angled synthetic brush. See that? And I'm just going to dip it in to the product, and this is a thick concealer. Take it in the cap and just kind of get it so where not so much product on there. The length of your brow underneath. And then I just kind of bring it down a little bit. What's nice about this little brush is it is angled, so it really just goes right underneath that. And you can see it just kind of highlights underneath there. And then you can, of course, for a really dramatic look, all I have to do is dip back in the cap again because there's product on there. For a really dramatic, like going out there, you can do the whole entire brow. But I really like just to define the top. And I'm gonna just take it from the center and go like that. So you're getting like the arch is like the most defined. Now notice that this concealer is a lot lighter than my skin, so you're really gonna get that definite highlight. If you want to do it every day and define your brows, but you don't want it to be as dramatic, go ahead and use a concealer that's more your skin tone. So now what I'm going to take is this Zoeva concealer buffer brush. It's the 142, and I'm going to just go ahead and buff around the outside. Buff it out, buff it out. And do the ball. Blending it into the eye. So notice and I can just bring it down onto my eyelid and use that as your base. Now notice I didn't do my eyeshadow yet. Because I knew I was doing this. If I'm doing this look, I do my eyeshadow last. Obviously I don't want to be, having a full eye and then having to mess with concealer around it. So that's what I do. It's a lot easier. You can be a little bit more messy. And then also, if I'm doing this brow normally, I would do this, and then I can put my foundation, because then you can just do your foundation to around here. So because I did this, I'm gonna have to go back with a little bit of foundation, because as you can see, it's way too dramatic. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of my foundation, just take a little bit more of my foundation and just kind of blend it on the top, so it's not so dramatic. Every day. And sorry, last step, Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. And I do that on both. And that's just because I like, remember, I like my little hairs to be sticking up. This keeps it that way. Just like that. And just like that. Okay, so that's it for brows. Hopefully that was a little bit informative.